When a new MMO game, promising to have a hyper-realistic world set to rival reality, is released in China, one man joins in at the very start, but he is no ordinary player. Winter River is our protagonist, who by sheer luck and ingenuity becomes the most powerful player in the game, from the very moment it is launched. Ironic, considering his luck stat remains 0 for most of the story. The absolute legend of a gamer skips the tutorial and gains a head start, but that isn't enough. He is outright annoyed at how rude the NPCs in the starting area are. This leads to him going into deep debt before his very first mission and ruining his reputation within the Light faction. Despite being the good guys, their attitude is far from good, and thus our hero does not hesitate a moment to shift sides at the promise of some powerful loot. By fooling the Dark faction boss, a powerful necromancer named Daniel, who encounters him in a weakened state, our hero joins the Dark faction as Daniel's disciple, which becomes a monumental step in his journey to becoming the strongest and infamous player in eternity. A crimson-red dragon is seen descending from the skies. A long black-haired man positioned on a cliff proudly declares that even if the dragon deity itself were to arrive, it would stand no chance against him. Mid-boast, his words are abruptly cut off by the sudden arrival of our protagonist, who is yelling as he plummets from the sky. It seems he has opted to skip the game tutorial and completely overlooked character creation. In mid-fall, he hastily opens the system menu to alter his appearance. When the system prompts him for a name, he confidently types the kindergarten's strongest. However, due to his apparent age, the system rejects this choice and asks for an alternative. He selects Winter River, and upon landing in the center of the novice village, his clothes are incinerated by the impact. As he lands on the ground, he first decides to get a quest. Our half-naked hero spots an old NPC nearby and approaches him. He inquires if the old man has any quests for him, but the NPC sharply dismisses him, deeming him unworthy. Infuriated, he questions the old man's judgment. The old man instructs him to go to the village entrance and kill some slimes to prove himself. Without hesitation, our naked hero accepts the mission and rushes toward the innocent slime monsters. He opens his inventory and finds a wooden stick. Seeing himself as the village's sole hero, he brandishes his so-called sword and smacks the slime. Shocked at the -5 damage he deals to the slime, he wonders if the initial damage in the game is always this low. The slime monster, unhurt and enraged by the offense, jumps and charges at the naked boy's belly. Knocked back by the slime's attack, Winter River runs as fast as he can, realizing that the slime's damage is 10 times greater than his own. Unwilling to accept the recent events, Winter hastily examines his system panel to determine if there is an issue with the game. Frustrated by his poor stats and lack of luck, he remains stuck on the simplest level. He regrets his choice to skip the tutorial, recognizing that typical players have ample time to devise solutions before encountering such difficulties. Surveying his surroundings, Winter spots a novice soldier NPC leaning against a wall. Based on the soldier's appearance, he estimates him to be at least level 5. Without hesitation, Winter approaches the NPC, seeking assistance. The NPC, however, refuses to help and exhibits an unfriendly demeanor akin to that of the village leader. He ridicules Winter for his inability to fend off the weakest monster and demands 10 gold coins in exchange for any aid. Winter decides to use his bargaining skills, offering the soldier 1 gold coin and suggesting he will seek help elsewhere. The soldier, realizing the amount has doubled his monthly income, quickly accepts Winter's offer. Impressed by Winter's apparent generosity, he calls him back, stating that the offer has changed his mind. Winter expresses his desire to receive advice on the slime monsters. Instantly, a surge of energy courses through his body, granting him not 1, but 2 new skills. One skill is passive, known as the basic sword skill, which boosts his strength when wielding weapons. The other is an active skill, referred to as the basic double-hit skill, enabling him to perform a 2-hit combo with a slightly reduced damage percentage. The soldier appears quite exhausted, having spent all his remaining coins and energy teaching Winter those skills. When he demands the promised reward, Winter reveals he is penniless and promises to pay once he has earned enough. The soldier becomes enraged and forces Winter to sign a contract. He warns Winter that if he does not pay the gold coin he owes, he will hunt him down in a week, no matter where he goes. Winter sees a golden opportunity and convinces the soldier to give him all his equipment in exchange for another gold coin. He analyzes the equipment and finds it is of the white tier, the lowest quality. He learns that the white tier is the lowest one, and that there are 8 tiers. From the white tier all the way up to the heaven tier. Finding himself stronger than before, Winter decides to seek out a slime to exact his revenge. Just as he is about to proceed, a thundershock strikes the ground and the area becomes crowded, with players logging in after completing the tutorial. He is overwhelmed by how the game typically appears after seeing the opening scenes. Ignoring the players around him, Winter rushes toward the slime monsters. He wields the sword obtained from the NPC and slashes at a slime using his double hit skill. The slime monster, once again angered, charges at him, but Winter feels elated as both his attack and defense have significantly improved. He strikes the monster again, this time delivering a critical hit of 66 damage and killing it, thereby earning 10 experience points. As Winter successfully dispatches his slime, his morale soars, and he continues to kill slime monsters for another 2 hours, raising his level to 3. With each level up, he feels an energy surge through his body, boosting his stats. Meanwhile, in the village, the other players struggle to defeat even a single slime despite forming parties of 4 to 5 people, as the old village head dismisses the players as a bunch of trash. Winter makes his appearance. Feeling proud, he begins to brag about his powers and presents the slime cores to the old geezer as proof. The village head, impressed by Winter's capabilities, recognizes he is not as clueless as the other newbies. Upon completing the mission, Winter receives 20 experience points and inquires if there is a more challenging task available. The old geezer responds with a death stare and dares Winter to hunt down 10 demon lords. The system panel opens before him, displaying the unlimited rewards he can earn by completing this quest, including the title of hero. However, when Winter's gaze shifts to the penalty section, he is taken aback. Not only will his reputation plummet by 10,000, but he will also face a fine of 10,000 gold coins. To make matters worse, the deadline for completing the quests is only 1 week. Winter accuses the old geezer of cheating him, pointing out the absurdity of expecting him to kill the 10 strongest demon lords in 1 week, when he has only just managed to defeat the weakest monster. The village head mocks Winter, saying he thought Winter was stronger and smarter than the rest of the players, whom he refers to as trash. Despite his frustration, Winter manages to keep his cool and accepts the mission. Upon accepting the mission, Winter requests the old geezer to give him his mysterious heirloom in advance, citing the fatal consequences of the mission. The village head, calling him an intelligent and strong hero, gladly hands over the heirloom. He internally scoffs, believing Winter to be a fool for accepting an impossible mission that will guarantee him 10,000 gold coins. As the system notifies Winter of the mission acceptance, he examines the mysterious heirloom and discovers that it is an S-rank Fire AoE spell scroll. This scroll has the power to incinerate all enemies within a 200-meter radius, dealing a staggering 5 million damage. Can't he just incinerate the old geezer with it? No village head, no stupid mission. What do you guys think? As night falls, a gray wolf monster suddenly materializes and bites Winter. While he wanders through the forest, reacting swiftly, Winter draws his sword and slashes at the monster, engaging it in combat. With determined effort, Winter successfully dispatches the wolf, earning himself 80 experience points in the process. Receiving only 3 bronze coins as a reward, Winter begins to understand why the old geezer was eager to assign him the mission. Given the slow pace at which he is leveling up, it seems impossible for him to defeat any demon within a week, let alone the demon lords. Contemplating whether he should abandon his current account and create a new one, Winter is startled by a red system notification. It informs him that he would have to compensate for the 10,002 gold coins in real-life currency, where 1 gold coin equals $600. This revelation shocks him, as it calculates his debt to be over $59 million. Even if he were to start a job with $8,000, it would take him an impossibly long time to repay such a colossal amount. Trying to calm himself down, Winter rationalizes that earning $10,000 isn't an insurmountable task. He resolves to find more monsters, and like any typical protagonist, decides to maintain a low profile while steadily growing stronger. He encounters a lone wolf separated from its pack and attacks it confidently. Mocking the wolf's howl, he remarks that not every encounter will end in the wolf's favor. 2 hours pass, during which Winter manages to defeat numerous wolf monsters and raise his level to 7. Finally, he receives an equipment drop, a wrist guard made from wolf skin. As he equips the wrist guard, his attention is drawn to a demonic wolf king nearby, revealed to be a bronze-tier boss. Analyzing his hit points, Winter discovers they have reached an impressive 25,000. Initially considering a strategic retreat to face the monster when stronger, he quickly decides to confront the challenge head-on. Before other players arrive, even the predicament he finds himself in. Rushing towards the wolf monster, Winter slashes at it, but the monster retaliates with a powerful claw attack, surprising Winter with the disparity in their damage capabilities. As the boss monster closes in, a gray wolf suddenly leaps at Winter and bites him. Thinking fast, Winter seizes the gray wolf by the neck and positions it to face the Wolf King. This act earns him the moniker of Wolf-Holding Warrior Winter. As Winter anticipated, the Wolf King hesitates to attack him, seemingly reluctant to harm his own kind. Seems this pup forgot how to bite. Seizing the opportunity, Winter begins a relentless assault on the Wolf King with continuous slashes. After 2 hours of tiresome battle, Winter successfully reduces the Wolf King's HP to half, triggering its enraged state and causing it to progress to the next phase. In this game, both boss monsters and even normal ones can advance through up to 3 phases, becoming significantly stronger with each phase. Being a boss-tier monster, the Wolf King has a high probability of advancing, and indeed, it has now ascended to the next tier. Following this advancement, the Wolf King utilizes bloodlust skills to enhance its stats, though this comes at the cost of losing 0.2% of its HP every minute. Winter scoffs at the negligible debuff caused by the bloodlust skill, questioning if defeating the Wolf King will prove more challenging than he originally thought. To his surprise, the Wolf King activates another skill called Wolf King Aura, further boosting its strength. Enraged, the monster unleashes a devastating attack, Ripping Claw, which kills the gray wolf companion, and leaves the Wolf King momentarily incapacitated for 5 seconds. Seeing an opportunity, Winter presses on with his attacks, but he struggles to inflict significant damage on the beast. The Wolf King retaliates, delivering a fierce blow that reduces Winter's HP to a precarious 100. Realizing the dire situation he's in, Winter decides to retreat, bluffing that the Wolf King won't be able to catch up to him as he flees. The Wolf King swiftly closes the distance and leaps at Winter, but he manages to evade the attack with a clumsy, deer-like sprint. He continues to narrowly dodge the Wolf King's assaults, acutely aware that one misstep could mean his demise. Suddenly, he recalls his basic sword skills and decides to utilize them. This tense exchange persists for another 5 hours, during which Winter effectively employs his sword skills to wear down the Wolf King. Finally, he emerges victorious, defeating the formidable beast. His achievement is met with substantial rewards. He earns a wealth of experience and reputation points, propelling him to level 10. As the first player in the game to slay a boss monster, Winter is granted the privilege to allocate 10 attributes of his choice and receives a rare blessing orb as an additional reward. The system prompts Winter with an option to announce his achievement to all adventurers and receive 100,000 reputation points in return. Astonished by the substantial amount of reputation points offered, Winter swiftly accepts the offer without hesitation. So much for him keeping a low profile. Announcements ripple through the game, spreading the news of Winter becoming the first boss killer. Many players, still grappling with the challenge of defeating slimes, find it hard to believe. As the announcements subside, players from around the world swiftly send Winter friend requests in droves. Overwhelmed by the flood of requests, Winter opts to block further incoming friend requests through the system settings. Winter breathes a sigh of relief as he examines the loot obtained from defeating the first boss. However, before he can thoroughly analyze his rewards, a sudden voice interrupts his thoughts. Turning towards the source of the voice, Winter sees a necromancer standing before him, visibly enraged over Winter's actions in killing his beloved puppy. The necromancer regards Winter with contempt, viewing him as nothing more than an insignificant insect that will soon be crushed by his wrath. Winter ponders whether this necromancer is the same one mentioned in the Wolf King's description. Sweat trickles down his face, but he remains composed, recalling the forbidden S-rank scroll gifted by the avaricious village head. The necromancer reveals himself as one of the powerful Dark Lords, boasting of his Dark Gold tier status and nearing the Spirit tier. With a menacing tone, the necromancer asks Winter if he has any final words. In response, Winter mocks the necromancer, questioning his bravado while lurking near a meager novice village. Enraged, the necromancer dismisses Winter as a fool, asserting that despite his injuries, he is more than capable of defeating such a weak adventurer. Winter, sensing the gravity of the situation, calmly asks the necromancer to fulfill his final request and commends him for his formidable strength. Intrigued, the necromancer agrees to hear Winter out. Winter then asks the necromancer to inspect his information page and confirm if his HP is below 5 million. Enraged by Winter's provocation, the necromancer prepares to strike. However, Winter swiftly retrieves the forbidden scroll and aims it at the necromancer. Already wounded, and now apprehensive about the power of the scroll, the necromancer demands to know why such a potent artifact is in the possession of someone seemingly insignificant. Seeing the necromancer taken aback, Winter presses his advantage, threatening him to reveal his information page and surrender all his treasures if he wishes his life to be spared. The necromancer, displaying cunning insight, taunts Winter, suggesting he fears that his HP might surpass the scroll's damage potential. Identifying himself as Daniel, he asserts his readiness to face the consequences of the forbidden curse scroll without fear. With a determined expression, Winter declares his intention to tear the scroll, stating that he is unafraid of death, knowing he can easily revive himself. As Winter begins to rip the scroll, the necromancer's bravado falters, and he anxiously demands Winter to halt. In a surprising turn, Winter proposes a deal. If the necromancer provides him with sufficient tools and equipment, he will depart peacefully. Despite maintaining outward composure, Winter harbors inner apprehension, acknowledging the NPC's shrewdness and the precariousness of the situation. The necromancer, visibly afraid, explains that he cannot give something without receiving something in return, due to the rules of their world. However, he presents a new proposition. He offers to take Winter under his wing as his disciple. In exchange for sparing his life, the necromancer promises to teach Winter sword skills from the Dark faction. A dark system panel materializes before Winter, outlining the terms of the necromancer's proposal. It warns him that accepting the offer will result in losing his reputation with the Light faction and being branded a betrayer. Expressing his concerns, Winter points out that joining the Dark faction would leave him with no alternatives and potentially make him a pawn. Furthermore, he argues that his current role as a warrior is well balanced with all 3 stars stats, providing no incentive to learn dark sword skills. The necromancer attempts to reassure Winter by solemnly swearing an oath, assuring him that if he accepts the offer, he can assume the new hidden role of the Dark Swordsman. A system panel opens, confirming that the deity of contracts will enforce consequences upon the necromancer should he fail to uphold his promise. Another dark panel reveals details about the hidden abilities and attributes of the Dark Swordsman role. Comparing the stats between his current warrior role and the potential of the Dark Swordsman, Winter is captivated by the prospect of gaining 5- and 6-star attributes in exchange for his current 3-star ones, envisioning himself as a remarkably powerful and attractive dark warrior. Winter eagerly approaches the necromancer. He shakes hands with the Dark Lord and formally acknowledges him as his teacher. As Winter accepts the necromancer's proposal, his entire being undergoes a transformation, morphing into a demon-like form. His physical body and DNA adapt to this new role, and he receives a reward in the form of the dead spirit's ring. With his role changed, Winter's skill set undergoes a comprehensive overhaul. His passive basic sword skill transforms into dark sword skill, and his active double hit skill becomes frenzy killing. Feeling apprehensive about his altered appearance, Winter nervously asks the necromancer if there's a way to revert to his original form. The necromancer reassures him, explaining that as Winter grows stronger and learns to control his newfound dark aura, he will eventually regain his human form. To conceal Winter's demon-like appearance temporarily, the necromancer casts a concealment spell, returning him to his human guise for 3 days. Winter proudly boasts about obtaining a hidden role so early in the game, and ridicules the necromancer for assuming the role of his teacher, despite being only at the 5th tier out of the 8 available. The necromancer, annoyed by Winter's remarks, urges him to calm down, and explains that once Winter surpasses him in strength, he may earn the opportunity to become a disciple of one of the 10 demon lords. Switching to his role as a teacher, the necromancer instructs Winter to demonstrate his allegiance to the Dark faction by undertaking a test. Despite his initial reluctance, due to willingly changing his role, Winter is presented with a system panel detailing the mission requirements, which are to eliminate at least 100 adventurers from the Light faction. Winter asks about the challenges involved in the mission and the repercussions he might face if he fails or dies. His concern stems from the fact that by joining the Dark faction, there's a significant risk you won't respawn at the novice village upon death. The necromancer, sporting a grin, informs Winter that he no longer has access to the protection of the deity of life, having betrayed the Light faction. Upon hearing this, Winter is devastated because he realizes he won't be able to respawn anymore. However, his new teacher reassures him that once he successfully completes his test mission, he will receive the protection of the demon lords in exchange. With this assurance, the necromancer bids Winter farewell, informing him that he needs 3 days to recuperate before they can leave the novice village together. Winter assesses his skills and equipment, noticing several empty slots. His gaze falls upon a pack of wolves, prompting him to test his new abilities on them and collect more equipment. As he continues to hunt and gather, amassing a wealth of items, he plans to sell them upon returning to the village. Suddenly, a group of players appears out of nowhere, pushing Winter aside and claiming the territory for the Assembly of Heroes. Winter, feigning innocence, questions their right to take over, since he was there first. Despite their insistence, Winter stands firm and declares his intention to defend the area for solo players. He begins recording the in-game battle and engages the players in combat. The players attack with full force, but their blows barely dent Winter's armor, which effectively blocks off most of the damage. Winter swings his sword, effortlessly dispatching both players with a single strike. Witnessing the significant damage dealt and the experience points earned from the kills, he becomes exhilarated. In response to their teammates' swift defeat, the remaining players charge in blindly, meeting the same fate as their comrades. The last standing player freezes in fear, but Winter shows no mercy, successfully eliminating a total of 17 players. Justifying his actions, Winter argues that the Assembly of Heroes initiated the conflict by attacking him first, staving the recording as evidence. As night descends, Winter heads to the village and calls out if anyone is interested in purchasing Grey Wolf equipment. Villagers express surprise considering that some struggle to defeat even basic slimes at this early stage of the game. The low-level equipment catches the attention of players, with one offering 1,000 units of currency for a single piece. Winter announces that the highest bidder will secure all the Grey Wolf equipment, and a player named Dragon approaches him, purchasing every single piece for 10,000 units. Dragon extends an invitation for Winter to join his Dragon Guild, and sends a friend request. Winter hesitates, concerned about the potential consequences for a dark faction player joining a guild, aligned with the light faction. As a result, he politely declines, stating his preference to continue as a solo player for the time being. Dragon persists, urging Winter to accept his friend request and offering a lucrative deal to sell all of his future equipment to the Dragon Guild at a fair price. Intrigued by the offer, Winter agrees to both requests and provides Dragon with his bank details for the purchase. After logging out of the game, Winter finds that he has earned a substantial sum of money from the transaction. A game that pays you to play, my wallet just did a happy dance, followed by a nervous side-eye. Winter proceeds to upload the video he recorded of the encounter with a small group of heroes. The video quickly gains traction, causing widespread criticism of the Assembly of Heroes Guild. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the guild president of the Assembly of Heroes, who receives news of the video. He becomes visibly irritated by Winter's apparent mockery of their guild. His butler informs him of the location, where Winter challenged them. Seeing Winter as just a single player, the guild president orders his butler to mobilize all guild members to that location, and to recruit additional players if necessary. In a bold move, he also announces a hefty reward of 50,000 units for each player, who manages to defeat Winter River. The butler questions the president's decision, wondering if they're overreacting to a minor incident. However, the president insists that investing in such opportunities within the game will ultimately pay off. When pressed about how many players to mobilize, the president directs the butler to assemble a minimum of 100 players. The scene shifts back to Winter, who patiently waits for the players to approach, eager to face the challenge and gain more experience. As the players spot him, they charge at full speed, driven by the prospect of earning the 50,000 bounty for each kill. As the players approach, Winter smirks and effortlessly dispatches them all with a single slash of his sword, leaving them dead on the ground. The swift defeat significantly dampens the morale of the remaining players, knowing that each death causes them to lose a level upon revival. Among them, a player named Greeting Chaos in the World tries to rally the others, emphasizing the overwhelming difference in numbers. He mentions the compensation offered by the guild for deaths and hints at the potential loot Winter might draw upon defeat. Winter, reveling in his newfound power, taunts the players to approach cautiously, not to waste their lives hastily. To him, each player represents a significant opportunity to gain experience points. Motivated by Greeting Chaos in the World's speech, the players bravely continue their assault on Winter, dealing insignificant damage, but steadily whittling down his hit points over the next 20 minutes until only a sliver remains. The players become increasingly excited about their impending victory as they continue their assault on Winter. However, contrary to their expectations, Winter suddenly levels up, causing his health bar to instantly refill. Confusion and panic spread among the players, since defeating other players typically doesn't grant experience points. Breeding chaos in the world speculates that Winter's level up might be due to a reward he received from a previous monster kill. He rallies the players, urging them not to give up after sacrificing their levels, reminding them of the potential rewards, and encouraging them to press on despite the setback. The players rush in, believing Winter has exhausted his resources and won't level up any further. Despite their relentless attacks over the next 15 minutes, Winter completes his mission and earns recognition from the Dark faction. However, he chooses to continue battling players to accumulate more experience points. After another 5 minutes of persistent attacks, the players start feeling confident that they're close to defeating Winter River. Yet, Winter surprises them once more by leveling up again, leaving them bewildered and frightened. They are puzzled about how Winter is gaining experience points from defeating other players. The players turn to Greeting Chaos in the world for guidance, seeking their next course of action. He commands them to retreat, much to Winter's amusement, as he mocks their departure without acquiring any equipment. Having already leveled up twice, Winter considers the experience points from these low-level players insignificant and decides to let them go. Meanwhile, he checks his panel and notices that his evil level remains at 0. Curious about how to increase it, he reviews his stats and other details, when a red panel with a danger sign suddenly appears. Opening it, Winter discovers that his teacher, the necromancer Daniel, is in dire need of help. The system warns Winter that failing to assist Daniel could result in severe penalties, even if it leads to Daniel's death. Winter, concerned about leaving the novice village alone, rushes to aid his teacher upon learning of Daniel's peril. As he arrives, he finds Daniel in a desperate struggle against the old pyromancer, who aims to kill him for a bounty from the Church of the Light faction. Despite Daniel's resilience, he is clearly struggling to fend off the pyromancer's attacks. Interrupting the confrontation, Winter demands to know why the pyromancer is in this place. Upon learning of the pyromancer's title and suspecting his high level, Winter tries to analyze his stats, but finds them concealed, much like Daniel's. The pyromancer, noticing the dark aura surrounding Winter, questions if he has aligned himself with the path of evil, contemplating the rewards he could gain by delivering Winter to the church. Winter, concerned about Daniel's ability to defeat Brandy, asks his teacher directly if he can win against the pyromancer. In response, Daniel scoffs at Winter, accusing him of being bad luck every time he appears. Irritated by Daniel's dismissive attitude, Winter demands a plan. Daniel proposes that Winter distract Brandy for at least 20 seconds so he can cast a teleportation spell to escape. Winter criticizes Daniel for asking him to act as a decoy without offering anything in return, insisting on a formal mission. Annoyed by Winter's insistence at such a critical moment, Daniel begrudgingly grants him the mission. The system panel opens, confirming that Winter will be rewarded for holding off Brandy for 20 seconds and identifying the pyromancer as Brandy. Winter, feeling betrayed by his teacher, prepares himself for the mission ahead. Brandy, the old geezer, directs his staff towards Winter to attack. In response, Winter brandishes the forbidden scroll that Brandy gave him earlier, threatening to tear it apart and unleash its power if Brandy moves. Brandy scoffs at Winter's threat, reminding him of who gave him the scroll and casts his spells without fear. Winter retorts that he remembers well it was an old man who had high expectations of him. With determination, Winter tears the scroll apart, declaring that he will use its power to defeat a demon lord like Brandy. As Winter unleashes the fire dragon's forbidden spell on Brandy, the teleportation scroll activates, whisking both Winter and the necromancer away in an instant. As Winter unleashes the power of the forbidden scroll against Brandy, the system swiftly registers his betrayal to the Light faction. A bounty is placed on Winter's head, offering rare equipment and the coveted hidden roll to whoever manages to kill him. The announcement spreads throughout the game, marking Winter as a target for all adventurers aligned with the Light faction. The scene shifts as the necromancer escapes, teleporting to the plane of Gale and leaning on Winter's shoulder for support. Meanwhile, Winter hears the announcement declaring his betrayal and the subsequent bounty on his head. Frustration grips him as he realizes that fellow players will now see him as a target, motivated by the rewards offered for his defeat. The system panel opens in front of Winter, detailing the punishment for leaving the village and breaking the contract. If leaving the village breaks his contract, then how is he supposed to kill the 10 demon lords by just staying here? The old village head was definitely a scammer. Winter discovered that all the money he had earned was missing from his bag when he checked it. Fortunately, there was no record of a negative 10,000 gold coin deduction. In addition, he realized he had reverted back to level 1. Seeking answers, Winter approached his teacher and grasped him by the collar, questioning him about compensation for all he had sacrificed to save him. Daniel reassured Winter that he would never mistreat a pupil who had also saved his life. In response, Winter felt a surge of energy coursing through his body. He not only gained substantial experience points, but also acquired a rare as-rank skill called Evil Trampling. Opening the system panel, he examined the skill's details, including its potent effects and suppression capabilities. Winter envisioned it as a stylish technique for humiliating opponents with a flying kick to the face, though he found its damage output to be less than he had anticipated. The necromancer explains to Winter that the skill, which has been lost to time, was stumbled upon accidentally. He informs Winter that, being a mage, it will be challenging for him to master it. When Winter expresses concern about its damage output, the necromancer assures him that acquiring a skill, coveted by powerful individuals in the Dark Faction, is a stroke of luck. After receiving this skill and its associated rewards, Winter politely asks his teacher if there are any additional rewards for him. In response, Daniel advises Winter to curb his greed and focus on practicing more diligently to accelerate his growth. He emphasizes that while equipment plays a role, true strength comes from dedicated effort and perseverance. Daniel informs Winter that the Plane of Gales is a contested territory, outside the jurisdiction of both the Light and Dark factions. He invites Winter to accompany him to a location protected by the Demon Lords. Curious about this protection, Winter asks for details, but Daniel suggests waiting until they reach a safer spot, noting his current weakness prevents him from providing immediate protection. As they continue walking across the barren landscape, Winter follows the necromancer for about an hour, until he stops and sits down. The necromancer informs Winter that his wounds are nearly healed, but he needs 2 days of rest. Handing Winter a potion, he assigns him the task of defeating a group of weak monsters in the area, assuring him that he can handle them alone. Winter accepts the healing potion, and enthusiastically agrees to undertake the C-rank mission to enhance his strength. The system panel opens before him, revealing that he must defeat 500 demonic lizards and report back to his teacher to claim the mission rewards. Arriving at the location, Winter encounters the lizard monsters and is taken aback by their significantly higher stats, many of which are 3 times more potent than those of the Wolf King he had previously defeated. As long as the monsters do not swarm him, Winter anticipates little difficulty in handling them, given his own considerable increase in strength. Eager to test his new skill, he swiftly approaches a lizard monster and unleashes Evil Trampling, dealing 1869 damage, and immobilizing it for approximately 2 seconds. Following up with his frenzied killing skill, Winter swiftly dispatches the lizard monster. After swiftly dispatching the first lizard, another one lunges at Winter, biting his leg and causing considerable damage. He manages to shake it off and quickly eliminates it. As more lizard monsters approach, Winter maintains a cautious distance to avoid being bitten again. After several minutes of careful maneuvering, he successfully defeats all the lizard monsters in the vicinity. Before he can proceed further, Winter receives a text from his friend in the Dragon Guild. Dragon informs him that Winter has gained significant fame across various forums and offers 20 million yen to buy his account. Winter ponders whether Dragon intends to use his account to secure the exclusive role change reward for himself, and he suspects that Dragon may not realize the risk that if Winter dies even once, his account will be permanently lost. Winter acknowledges that Dragon's offer of 20 million yen is substantial, but expresses his desire for an even higher amount. He explains to Dragon that the consequences of his death are severe, not merely resulting in a level drop. Understanding Winter's concerns, Dragon agrees that the benefits he offers are contingent on Winter avoiding death. Assuring Dragon that the bounty on his head is due to his experience, Winter bids him not to worry. Before parting ways, Winter remembers he has equipment to sell and sends Dragon a screenshot of it. Dragon proposes 30,000 for all the equipment, which Winter accepts. Dragon then asks for Winter's coordinates, prompting Winter to instruct him to send a stealthy thief to a specific location in the wasteland, where he will hide the equipment. Winter insists that Dragon transfer the payment before he sends the sneaky thief as a gesture of trust. Dragon agrees to Winter's terms and ends their conversation. Winter resumes his mission of eliminating the demonic lizard monsters. As he defeats another one, he senses a potent surge of malevolent energy coursing through his body, prompting him to wonder if he is undergoing evolution. The system panel immediately appears, notifying Winter that upon reaching level 15, he has awakened the power of the Dark Swordsman and learned a talent called the Power of Death. Curious, Winter quickly reads the skill description, discovering that it is a passive ability that continuously restores his HP, with a recovery percentage varying based on whether he is in or out of combat. Excited by his new skill, Winter believes he can employ a strategy of repeatedly engaging difficult foes, retreating to recover using his newfound ability, and then returning to resume the battle. This sounds exactly like the same talent I'd always loved using in League of Legends, Wild Rift's Arena mode. Suddenly, a system panel pops up confirming the transfer of 30,000. Winter promptly acknowledges the payment and sends Dragon the coordinates where he can locate the equipment. Dragon expresses his gratitude and assures Winter that he will receive fair prices whenever he sells equipment to the Dragon Guild. Winter continues slaying lizards for another hour, successfully defeating a total of 93 of them. Finally, he receives a dropped item, highlighting to him the low drop rate for such items. I bet this is probably because of his zero luck. However, that doesn't explain how he managed to get this far so quickly. Examining the boots, Winter finds them appealing, but realizes he is one level short and needs to grind more before he can wear them. Just as he prepares to continue his mission, hunger pangs strike, prompting him to log out for a lunch break. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to President 2 of the Assembly of Heroes Guild, who admits he underestimated Winter's power. 2's brother, acting as his butler, apologizes, revealing himself as the greeting chaos figure who had been leading the players. He takes full responsibility for the situation. President 2 reassures him, stating that what happened is not his fault. He acknowledges that it would be impossible for one person to influence so many lone players to follow their orders. After greeting Chaos leaves his brother's office, President 2 resolves with determination to hunt down Winter. Meanwhile, Winter logs back into the game and resumes his mission. Upon spawning, he is immediately struck by the tail of a demonic lizard. Upon closer inspection, he realizes it is not just any lizard, but a lizard king. The lizard king growls menacingly, but before it can fully unleash its roar, Winter, our once naked hero but now a villain, uses evil trampling on it. The effect of his skill wears off quickly, and Winter is knocked back. In addition, he finds himself afflicted with a poison debuff. With his hit points rapidly decreasing, Winter decides it's time to use the potion given to him by his teacher, Daniel. After regaining some HP from the potion, Winter swiftly returns to battle and launches a relentless assault on the Lizard King. Provoked by Winter's persistent attacks, the Lizard King attempts to retaliate with a tail slam. Acting swiftly, Winter severs the lizard's tail. Undeterred, he continues his barrage of attacks, and within minutes, he successfully defeats the Bronze Tier boss. Winter's joy is evident as he observes a substantial amount of silver coins drop from the defeated Lizard King. He eagerly anticipates discovering what kind of equipment the powerful creature might have dropped. The reward for defeating the demonic Lizard King is revealed, which includes a special Bronze Tier armor and a weapon. However, Winter realizes that the level requirement to equip the yellow stone armor is significantly higher than his current level. Furthermore, as a non-mage, he sees limited use for the demon's stone staff despite its impressive attack stat and life steal effect. Consequently, Winter decides to sell the items to his trading partner, Dragon, to earn some quick currency. Dragon responds promptly, noting that not many players are at level 20 and thus can't currently utilize the equipment. Winter tries to negotiate, arguing that once others reach level 20, they will greatly benefit from the powerful staff and armor piece, especially considering the game's trash drop rates. Dragon makes a final offer of 50,000, emphasizing that early game equipment isn't particularly hard to obtain once other players catch up in levels. Winter accepts Dragon's offer on the spot, ensuring that he receives payment first, as is customary in her transactions. Pleased with his successful business transaction, Winter smirks with optimism about his future in gear selling and his potential within the game. Seeing the lizard monsters ahead, he resolves to continue grinding to complete the mission assigned by his teacher. Approaching his target, he springs onto a lizard and swiftly cuts it in half. Suddenly, he feels a surge of power within himself as the system congratulates him on reaching level 16. Excited at the prospect of being able to wear his new loot, Winter opens his equipment menu and equips the sand boots he obtained earlier, now only one slot away from being fully equipped from head to toe. As the sun sets, Winter removes his headset and logs out, feeling weary from all the grinding. Planning to order some food, he is taken aback by an unexpected surprise on his phone. With a wide grin, he reads a message from his friend Wang Kai inviting him to a barbecue. Wang Kai playfully teases Winter for not replying earlier, hinting at Winter rewarding himself in his own way. If you know what he means. Still smiling, Winter agrees to meet up with his old university friend at their usual spot. The scene transitions to Winter walking through a bustling crowd during sunset, making his way to the meetup spot. Spotting his friend at a table in an outdoor restaurant, Wang Kai waves enthusiastically and immediately drapes his arm over Winter's shoulder with a bold grin. He eagerly shares big news with Winter, offering him a job opportunity. Intrigued, Winter listens closely as Wang Kai explains the details of the job. As they enjoy corn dogs together, Wang elaborates that he works for a studio, gearing up to make a significant impact in the game Eternity. He offers to facilitate an introduction for Winter, so he can join the team and start working alongside him. Winter surprises Wang by stating that he's not interested in the job opportunity. Perplexed, Wang asks if Winter is concerned about him taking advantage. Wang reassures Winter, emphasizing their brother-like bond and vowing not to undermine him in any way. He goes on to highlight the enticing benefits of the job, including a generous salary of 8,000 yuan per month and a robust pension plan, framing it as an excellent package for a comfortable life. As Wang continues to praise Winter's skills, Winter interjects to emphasize his preference for working alone. Wang is taken aback, suddenly realizing that Winter has already started playing Eternity. Winter enthusiastically explains that he couldn't resist joining, once he'd heard about the incredible design of this ultra-realistic game, likened to a second world. Curious, Wang asks for Winter's username so he can add him in-game. Winter tries to play it off as a secret with a laugh, inwardly struggling with the decision not to reveal his infamous in-game persona that could potentially strain his friendship. With a smug expression, Wang asks Winter if he's being chased by players in the game, all while casually munching on another dumpling. Little does this man know how close he just came. Moments later, Wang recalls a piece of secret information. He informs Winter that supposedly, a player can access a secret realm upon reaching an undisclosed high power level. Winter is left speechless, his mouth hanging open in disbelief. Wang admits he doesn't have all the details, but suggests this secret unlock is tied to the player's talent rather than luck, according to the developer's vision for Eternity. Winter leans on the table and inquires with Wang about how he managed to uncover such a significant secret. Wang responds that the studio he joined is privy to numerous secrets and has ambitious plans to accomplish great feats in the game. After some time, Wang rises and excuses himself, explaining that he needs to return to work. Winter bids farewell to his friend. Winter then logs back into the game and reunites with Daniel, who is astonished by the speed at Winter's completion. Winter, reflecting on how tedious and monotonous the grinding mission had been, respectfully requests the rewards for his mission. Winter's teacher confidently reassures him of his principles, emphasizing his fair treatment of disciples, and then unexpectedly raises his hand in front of Winter's face. As the yellow level of aura surrounds him, Winter is congratulated by the system for receiving not only 25,000 XP points, but also a silver tier storage ring. Winter is pleasantly surprised by being rewarded with a piece of silver tier equipment, eagerly glancing at the ring on his middle finger. He feels overjoyed after reading the green panel, which displays the ring's utility. Curious, Winter inquires if his teacher has knowledge of adventurers' talents, the necromancer. Understanding that the players are new to the world of Tianheng, remains unsurprised at Winter's lack of knowledge. When Winter seeks more details, his teacher explains that once he becomes as powerful as Tianheng's original inhabitants, he will be summoned to a secret world to face a trial. Only after this trial will the player be given an hour to decide their talent. He further mentions that each talent is colored and once chosen, the player can leave. Winter is surprised to learn he will have a whole 60 minutes to choose talents, but his teacher diminishes his excitement by explaining that the talents are not particularly special. More specifically, one can only find mediocre C or D rank talents in 60 minutes, and he elaborates that he himself has a C rank talent, medicinal mania, which merely doubles the medicine he produces. With a serious expression, he speaks enviously of the sword god's talent. This warrior of the light faction has a talent called Sword Heart, which increases his damage output by 80% when using a sword. It is truly an overpowered ability that would make anyone envious. Daniel then quizzes Winter on how he would grade such a talent, to which Winter replies without hesitation, S rank. With a grave expression on his pale visage, the teacher exclaims that it is the highest ranked talent in all of Tianheng, SS rank. As they stand face to face, Winter further inquires if a triple S rank talent exists above SS rank, which his teacher immediately denies. His teacher explains that the total number of SS rank talent owners across the world can be counted on one hand, and provides a brief overview of the ranking system, from the lowest D rank to the legendary SS rank. Shortly after, he silences his disciple and tells him to be grateful for the skill bestowed upon him to destroy his enemies. leaving Winter feeling awkwardly surprised. Winter further inquires when a player qualifies to be equal to an original inhabitant. It is revealed that he must be silver tier, and that power level holds great significance, so much so that even a level 20 player could unlock the secret realm before a level 30 player. Then suddenly, his teacher becomes serious and radiates a bluish aura, proclaiming that Winter will know the rest in due time, when he is worthy. As magic waves circulate around the necromancer, he announces that he is bestowing the Demon Lord's protection upon our villainous hero, whose shocked gaze is paralyzed by what he is witnessing. Winter becomes excited and stares with bulging eyes at his necromancer teacher, who is casting a power he believes to be amazing enough to replace an adventurer's revival ability. His teacher begins his incantation and points to his brilliantly sparkling skullhead staff at Winter. Azure magical lightning envelops our hero, who suddenly feels nefarious power flowing through each of his veins. Winter's skin becomes dusky, his eyes bulge, and purple magic surges throughout his body and surroundings, while the Vermilion system panel congratulates him on gaining the Demon Lord's protection. Now with ashen skin and purple accents, Winter feels disappointed for a moment until a red panel appears, announcing his new title of Fallen, due to his betrayal of the Light faction. This title doubles his final HP. As he reads his new stats, he realizes how overpowered the double HP makes him, almost as if he were a boss monster. He then understands the importance of this status for Dark faction members. While adventurers can grow fast and respawn, Dark faction monsters must be extremely resilient to withstand such enemies. But as a half-light, half-dark protagonist, Winter is enjoying the perks of both sides. With ashen skin and grinning ear to ear at his new power, Dark Winter is approached by his teacher, who asks him how he feels about the newfound strength with an ostentatious smile. Winter responds with this sarcastic remark, his eerie smile matching his teacher's. As their conversation ends, Winter turns to Daniel and inquires about their next destination. Daniel, with an air of superiority, declares that he is ready to go and boasts that Winter's sensei is stronger than he realizes. Winter cringes in fiend surprise as he looks at his teacher. The teacher-disciple pair continues their journey through the mountainous, ash-gray stony area and arrives at the City of Darkness. A system panel reveals that this was once a territory of the Light faction, now usurped by the Dark faction's 10 demon lords. Despite this, it remains a contested battlefield, as the Light faction persists in reclaiming its lost territory. Approaching the colossal gates of the city, a guard shouts orders to open them immediately upon the arrival of Daniel, the head of the first-tier main city. Winter is surprised to learn that Daniel is more than just a necromancer. Daniel, wearing a smug look, boasts that his recent promotion to this position is relatively new and not widely known. Nevertheless, he has been elevated from a dark gold tier boss to a spirit tier. Winter recalls an official announcement detailing the division of cities into 5 tiers, ranging from 4th-tier villages to super cities. Suddenly, undead guards of the city assemble to greet their city head. Among them, Winter spots a fearsome skeleton warrior mounted on an undead steed, both emanating powerful magical auras and clad in imposing silver armor. It is none other than the deputy city head, Cantor, a gold tier boss, whose exact stats remain unknown. In an instant, all of Daniel's subordinates kneel in reverence, as their lord returns after months of absence. Meanwhile, Winter ponders deeply, wondering how this first-tier main city has managed to survive in such close proximity to the Light faction, which boasts numerous NPCs capable of threatening it, despite Daniel being a dark gold tier boss, and Cantor a gold tier boss. Out of humility, City Head Daniel tactfully expresses gratitude to Cantor for his steadfastness during Daniel's absence and instructs him not to kneel. Daniel smoothly introduces his new disciple Winter to Cantor, who warmly greets Winter and praises his potential for great power, asserting that weakness is unheard of among Dark faction swordsmen. Escorted to the castle, Winter queries Daniel about any concerns regarding the Light faction's nearby stronghold. The necromancer dismisses any such apprehension with a hint of superiority, boasting that a necromancer fears neither death nor the allure of becoming city head. Daniel smiles wryly at Winter's nonchalant attitude towards death. Winter quickly understands Daniel's thoughts and motives. Daniel clarifies that necromancers technically do not align exclusively with the Dark faction. Even high-ranking members fear the potential chaos of an undead plague. Hearing this, Winter has a flashback to another game. Daniel goes on to explain that in Tianheng, regardless of faction, a living universally fear and loathe the undead. However, Daniel emphasizes that his primary goal is to utilize the city to achieve his ambitions. He assures Winter that he has no intention of driving him down with him. Instead, he plans to provide his disciple with benefits, for as long as he can using his position. How thoughtful of him. As Winter asks about the perks his teacher could provide, Daniel suddenly grasps his shoulder, taking him by surprise. The necromancer explains the serious situation. Both factions are preparing for an imminent war, but assures Winter that as his teacher and city head, he will ensure to foster Winter's development to the fullest extent possible. This unexpected conversation instills a newfound respect in Winter for his teacher, causing him to ponder whether this seemingly ordinary NPC could actually be a real person. Daniel emphasizes that while he may lack additional equipment, skills, or tools, he can aid Winter's growth through other means. He assigns Winter a mission to address a wild mouse population that has been attacking the city's guard patrols. When Winter inquires about the technical aspects of demonic energy, Daniel adopts the tone of a wise sage and advises him that, at his current power level, the most important thing is to concentrate on becoming stronger. He points out that dark swordsmen are notorious among the light faction, warning Winter that once he becomes a target in their eyes, opportunities for growth may diminish. Our protagonist ventures forth on a cloudy night in the Ashen Wastelands, contemplating where to start his hunting mission. He stops a skeleton passing by and casually inquires about the whereabouts of demonic wild rats to gather some leads. Boy, was that a mistake. Turns out the skeleton he referred to as Little Brother is a girl. The enraged female skeleton lectures him on how obvious it is that she is female, leaving Winter in shock and pondering how to determine gender from a bunch of bones. He quickly rephrases and asks where he can find demonic rats, causing her to blush. She informs him that he can find them on the north side of the city and shares the unpleasantness of rats digging around in her body. Yikes. And so Winter sets off, arriving in a closed-off area in the north, where he encounters not just one demonic rat, but an entire swarm of them. Comparing his own bronze tier boss stats with those of the normal monsters, Winter notes that while the demonic rats aren't overly tough individually, they possess nearly twice his AP and formidable attack power. He wonders about the potential danger of facing a pack attacking him simultaneously. Before any confrontation ensues, something unexpected occurs. The pack of deadly demonic rats suddenly flee, leaving Winter bewildered. He receives a notification indicating that the evil aura emanating from his body has intimidated the rats, causing them to flee. While Winter finds this newfound ability useful, he refocuses on his mission and begins the pursuit. Utilizing evil trampling, Winter pounces on his prey like a jaguar, swiftly dispatching the critters and reducing them to smithereens. Continuing his extermination of the rats, Winter accrues experience points over the course of an hour. 2 hours into his hunt, he notices a piece of equipment lying on the ground. Once again, he laments his inability to equip the powerful level 20 gear and stows it away in his bag. Suddenly, Winter is caught off guard by a notification announcing that an adventurer named God's Forbidden Zone has become the first player to receive a talent, a B-rank talent called Agility. This achievement also comes with a bonus reputation and stat points. Winter is surprised to learn that other players are also diligently grinding and progressing in their own endeavors. His train of thought is abruptly interrupted by an emergency announcement, heralding the arrival of the Silver Tier boss, Demonic Rat King. As a result of his extermination of the demonic rats, the ground trembles and cracks, signaling the impending emergence of a formidable foe. Without warning, a massive creature bursts forth from the fractured earth before him. According to the system, this Silver Tier boss is created when a demonic wild rat merges with a source of demonic aura. Towering nearly 10 times his height, the behemoth boasts formidable stats to match its imposing size. Winter gazes in awe at the monster's incredibly high attack power. Despite missing out on becoming the first player to acquire a talent, he is now determined to be the first to slay a Silver Tier boss. The boss' eyes gleam with ferocious, glistening red as it clenches its jaw. The behemoth lunges at Winter, undeterred, but he swiftly employs evil trampling to leap directly onto its head, successfully stunning the Rat King momentarily. However, the monster quickly regains its composure, sinking its jaws deep into Winter's core and melting away nearly half of his AP. Thankfully, Winter manages to recover his AP by drinking a potion, realizing how his title doubling his AP has made surviving the attack relatively manageable. Gripping his sword tightly, he retaliates with a counterattack, delivering a powerful blow that deals 1100 damage with a brilliant swing of the demonic swordsman. With persistent effort, Winter gradually chips away at the boss' HP over the course of an hour, first a fourth, then a third, and finally half of its total. As he retreats, preparing for the boss to activate its talents and enter an enraged state, Winter is caught off guard by the demonic Rat King, gaping its mouth and letting out harrowing cries. To his surprise, Winter realizes these cries are a call for reinforcements, a pack of rats closing in on them both. Suddenly, a blue panel materializes, announcing that the evil aura emanating from Winter terrifies the demonic Rat King, causing it to flee for its life as swiftly as it had pounced. Enraged, Winter charges at full speed toward the cowardly boss, gripping its tail firmly with one hand and wielding his sword in the other. With relentless determination, he repeatedly stabs the monster in its rear, steadily chipping away at its AP. He grimaces at the necessity of such treatment. No animal deserves this. Driven by his goal to be the first player to slay a silver tier boss, Winter refuses to let go, even as they tumble into a hole. They finally crash land at the bottom of a dark cave. Adorned with a giant purple crystal, the boss's HP dwindling to a third. However, their respite is short-lived as the boss swiftly regenerates its HP using the purple electric gem. Winter senses immense power emanating from the gem and realizes it is the source of their predicament. Before he can react, a bolt of purple lightning jolts through him, shocking our protagonist to the core. With a momentary 1000% boost to all his stats, Winter bursts into mad laughter and charges at the demonic Rat King, swiftly dispatching it, as if it were a piece of cake. His triumphant victory elevates him to level 19, and he receives rewards for becoming the first player in the game to slay a silver tier boss. As a rare drop, Winter obtains the Power of Flavors, an S-rank scroll capable of elevating a B rank, or lower skill by 1 rank. The system prompts Winter to decide whether to notify other adventurers about his achievement and gain 10,000 reputation. Seeing no reason to conceal an achievement that could ignite the entire game, Winter accepts the notification. The broadcast spreads across all servers, sparking envy among players directed at Winter River. Some accuse him of being an NPC or a hacker. As Winter approaches the loot dropped by the demonic Rat King, the system abruptly notifies him that his talent trial will commence in 3 minutes, urging him to prepare immediately. Excited about the prospect of obtaining a talent, Winter believes 3 minutes is sufficient time to prepare himself. He deduces that although he cannot use items or equipment during a trial, he can still utilize his skills. With this realization, he promptly retrieves the rare drop scroll he acquired and applies it to his B rank skill, the Dark Sword skill. As the skill evolves into the Art of Killing, it enhances Winter's base attack by a total of 200, while also becoming a passive ability. With his skill upgraded, Winter shifts his attention to an A-rank purple electric gemstone that significantly boosts a person's stats for 1 minute. However, since it's considered equipment, it won't be of use to Winter during the trial. Suddenly, the system notification appears and Winter is teleported to the location of his trial. The first phase of his trial begins with a simple task that he must defeat his enemy within 10 minutes. Failure would result in receiving only a D-rank talent. To his surprise, Winter's opponent turns out to be a cute little level 1 rabbit. He wonders if the rabbit might be exceptionally fast, or if this is simply a jest. As Winter examines his status board, he discovers that in this trial, he will always be adjusted to the same level as his enemy to ensure a fair battle. Quickly recalling the free stat points he earned from defeating bosses, Winter promptly allocates them to enhance his attack points. Encountering the rabbit, Winter swiftly dispatches the creature as if it were a mere cockroach. It turns out the rabbit was more bluster than threat. Completing the first phase effortlessly, Winter moves on to the second phase, where he must defeat a skeleton within 10 minutes to achieve a B-rank skill. The system warns him that failure could result in receiving a talent anywhere from B to D rank. Winter effortlessly dispatches the skeleton in an instant, finding it no trouble at all. With this success, the third phase of his trial commences, pitting him against a werewolf this time.